Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki LaRose. If you're new here, I'm a professional makeup artist based in Los Angeles. And for today's video, I have a really fun one. I love doing quick makeup looks. I think they're super helpful for everyone, whether you're a pro or a beginner. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a 10-minute realistic makeup look. My skin has been prepped off camera, so I'm gonna go in with my first product, and that's gonna be a tinted moisturizer. This one's from Tower 28. It's the Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF 30 tinted sunscreen. Now, just a little side note, I already have full-on sunscreen applied to my skin already, so great, this has SPF in it, but don't rely on this to protect your skin entirely. Just a little side note. I have the shade 30 PCH. Now, I'm not even gonna put it on a palette like I usually do for all these tutorials. I'm gonna put it on the top of my hand, and I think I'm gonna start slow, okay? I'm totally guilty of this as well, especially like in my makeup kit. I'll pump out way too much product and then you end up wasting it. So pump out or squeeze out less product than you actually think you need. That's like a little side tip. Now I'm going to apply this tinted moisturizer with a BK Beauty 101 brush. This is like the travel size, so it's a little bit of a shorter handle. The reason why I'm using this brush is because it's pretty large, right? And the quickest way to get your foundation on is to use a bigger brush. So I'm going to dip right into this. Pretty much going to pick up all of it, to be honest. And I'm going to start in the center of my face. Just kind of get that going and get that worked on my skin as quick as possible. Because when I'm in a time crunch, or if I'm trying to stick to like a really quick makeup look, like this one, for example, being 10 minutes, I will be happy if I just have coverage in the center of my face where I feel like I need it the most. And if I don't have time to really thoroughly coat the outside perimeters of my face, it's fine. I don't really need the coverage there anyway. But of course, cater it to what you need the most. Everyone is different. So just buffing this on, and this really does make it quick. Like application wise, this brush is going to cover a lot of ground. Another option would be really quick for application of your foundation or your tinted moisturizer would be a damp beauty sponge. Tinted moisturizer is completely on. You'll notice I did run this lightly over my eyelids. We can move on to concealer. Now for concealer, one of my favorite formulas when I am in a crazy hurry, or if I just don't want to spend a ton of time doing my makeup, but I want it to still be impactful, give me coverage, do the things that I want it to do, I grab this one. The Soft Matte from NARS. I love this concealer. It's in my makeup kit. My clients love it. It is just a solid formula. I have the shade Tiramisu. The reason why I like Tiramisu also for me, because it works under my eye, but it also works as spot concealing. I do suggest if you want a one and done concealer, skip having one that's going to be really brightening under your eye and instead go for one that matches your overall skin. You can use it under your eye and you can use it, like I said, for spot concealing. So this checks all those boxes for me. Now I'm gonna apply this with a Sephora 26 brush. It's basically like a blending brush, and I'm gonna pop it right here first. This is where I have the darkest pigmentation under my eye, right here. You know, less is more when you're doing a 10-minute makeup look. You really wanna just think, what are the most important things that I need for my face? What makes you feel like you again, or what makes you feel confident? Stick to those things and prioritize them, and that way you're using your time the most efficiently. So, speaking of efficiency, I have a little pimple above my lip. I'm going to take that concealer, pop it on top. I'm also going to just take a little bit extra of that concealer and bring it around my nose, because for me, I get very red around my nose. Now, if you're at home and you're watching this video and you're like, this video is already past 10 minutes long, it's going to be longer than 10 minutes because I'm talking to you and I'm explaining it. But if you take each of these tips and each of these steps and you combine them and you're really efficient with it, it will take you only 10 minutes, I promise. This is something I don't always do if I'm doing a quick 10-minute makeup look, but when I do it, I'm very happy that I took the time to do so. And that's just using a cream bronzer or a powder bronzer. I'm going to show you a different cream bronzer than what I usually use. This one is from Trinny London. It is a cream bronzer. It's in the shade Golden Glow. It's a gel bronzer. The reason why I suggest this over, let's say, my NARS Laguna that you know I love, or the Makeup by Mario Sculpt Stick, whatever it's called, that you know I love, or the Fenty Matchstick. Those are highly pigmented products. So when you're in a hurry, they take a lot more time and patience to blend out properly in order to make them look more flawless. So if you grab something like this is more of a sheer formula. They're more forgiving. So when you're in a hurry and you're trying to be very efficient with your time. Sheer products like tinted moisturizers, more sheer powders, sheer blushes, those are going to be more forgiving. So if you don't take a ton of time blending them out, they're still going to look good. So this one I've just literally dipped into. This is a BK Beauty 106 and tapped it on, and like the rest is history. That's it. Really, really quick and efficient and forgiving. It's not the most impactful shade. It's actually a really natural shade on me, but that's good because, like I said, if there's any areas I didn't spend enough time blending, you're not going to be able to tell. So that's like the beauty of it, right? But it's going to make you look polished. It's going to make you feel confident, but with really minimal time. So that's it for cream bronzer. I'm really going to just keep it very, very simple and super digestible. Now I'm going to move on to one of my favorite cream products when I'm on the go and I want to just do a quick makeup look. This is the Cheeky Tint and Glow in the shade La Beauté. La Beauty. It's from Girlactik. I love this one so much. So this is a very efficient product because you get on one side you get a cream highlighter, which I'll use in a second, and then you get a cream blush. Very, very neutral. I'm actually gonna take the same BK Beauty brush, talk about being efficient. Now, I'm not worried about the fact that it has a little bit of bronzer left over on it because that bronzer is so sheer. If you really are concerned, you can always rub it off on a tissue if you have one close by. So I'm gonna dip into the blush first. For a cream blush, I always like to tap and tap rather than buffing and over blending it. And then you kind of just end up with like a patchy nightmare of a makeup application. I'm just gonna tap, tap, tap. One side's done. Don't overthink it. And like I said, just with all the other products, this is a little more sheer. It's pigmented, but it's also sheer at the same time. It's hard to explain. You'd have to just see it in person, but it's a very, very easy to blend on formula. Pops on perfectly. It blends out really easily and really well. The color being so neutral, that's also very, very helpful. So if I picked up a really bright or very vibrant color, it would be a lot harder to blend out in a short amount of time. So when you're in a time crunch or you're trying to stick to 10 minutes, keep it neutral. It's the best tip. Now I am going to use the same brush because there's no rules. You can use the same brush for so many products. So I'm going to dip into this highlighter and I'm going to use 1/2 of the brush. Basically, I'm going to use the side of the brush. I'm going to smile a little bit. I'm going to hit the top of my cheekbone just to give my skin some extra glow, even though I'm already glowing with that tinted moisturizer. Pop it. And yes, we're going to address the brows in just a second after I powder my skin. And just, you know what, for fun, because just because it's 10 minutes doesn't mean it can't be pretty. Now is the time to move on to powder. So now we're going to use a powder to set the T-zone of my face and the under eyes, and I'm also going to be using this to apply to a little bit of my brow bone area. This is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder in the shade Breezy. If you're in a hurry, skip the loose powder. It's not going to be your friend. It's going to slow you down. It could be potentially very messy if you're in a hurry. I know from firsthand experience, I have dropped an entire thing of loose powder on my lap in my car as I'm like sitting about to walk into work. It's not fun. I don't recommend it and it's super wasteful. So skip the loose powder. Pressed powders are going to be such a time saver, period. Now, another time saver and another quick way to get your powder application on. You know I love my powder puffs. This is from Amazon. I'll make sure it's linked in the description. I'm gonna take my clean powder puff. I'm gonna get a good amount. I'm a powder girl. I like powder. So this is where you also wanna cater it to your specific needs and also just your, what you feel is best for your under eyes. So for me personally, I like to load up my under eyes with powder. Don't judge. It looks flawless. So I'm going to look up just a bit. I'm going to pop this under my eye and then I'm going to bring this straight down in this area of my T-zone. When you powder this part of your face, it will really give you an instant, flawless finish. So same thing, I'm going to set this part of my under eye. And this makes it convenient because obviously it's a triangle shape, right? So you just go pop, pop, pop it under your eye, bring it out. And then I do like a little bit in the center of my forehead, just between my brows. I don't want to have a lot of shine there. And I also like a little on my chin, but then the the outskirts, like I like to say, of your face, we're gonna leave glowy because that's what's gonna give you like that effortless, more natural finish to your makeup. Now I'm gonna buff out the creasing that happened on my eyelids really quickly. And this is a great, super quick, super efficient way to kind of prime your eyelids. So instead of grabbing an eyeshadow base, which we know is a little more time consuming, and if you want to just keep your products to a minimum, run a little bit of powder on your eyelids. I also like to cheat a little bit, and now I have oily skin naturally, and my brows are very sparse. So throughout the day, these get shinier and shinier. Now, full disclosure, I do have a little bit of brow pencil in my brows already. I'm gonna go in with one of my favorite brow pencils at the moment. I don't see that changing anytime soon, is the Patrickta brow pencil. This is in the shade dark brown. It's a very fine pencil. You kind of have to be a little careful. I need to spend time on my brows, so I'm happy to use a brow pencil, which, you know, does take a little bit more finessing because this is a top priority for me. Get my shape that I want. After that, I'm going to show you a key product to fill in your brows in very, very minimal time. And it's very cheap, so I'm excited to show you. So hang on. Now, just another side note, I do give myself grace when I'm doing a 10-minute makeup look. I will accept if things are not perfect. I will accept if my brows are sisters and not twins. Don't be over judgy. Don't judge yourself too hard. If you only knew how long I could take on my brows, you would be judging me. So now I'm going to switch to a product that is just phenomenal. It's $4. Anybody can use it. It is so easy to use. It's the elfcosmetics Brow Wow. I have the shade dark brown. I also use like natural brown, I think is a shade. These are just a great formula. They're an incredible dupe for so many expensive higher end brow gels. So this is a fiber brow gel. It's tinted. You can even see like the little fibers on it, which is amazing. So if you're someone who has sparse brows or more thin, fine brows, like brow hair like I do, you're going to love this. So the way I like to apply this is not the traditional way. So what I like to do is take the tip of the wand that has the most product, most fibers clumped up on the tip. I take the tip of it and I like to push it straight up. Truthfully, I have even gotten away with just putting this in my brows. Like my thin, sparse brows have actually left the house with only this product in it. That's how good it is. That's saying a lot. And if I wasn't talking so much about this product and raving about it so much, I would have had this on in under a minute, well under a minute. For a quick eye, I love to use a shadow stick. Not every shadow stick, but I love this one. This is from Girlactik. It's the shadow stick in the shade Nutmeg. So Nutmeg is a beautiful, rich brown. I'm gonna pop it all onto my eyelid, and don't be intimidated, okay? Because I'm gonna show you how easy it is to blend it out. I'm gonna take a blending brush. This is a 202 from BK Beauty, and I'm just going to kind of haphazardly blend it upward. Now, I say haphazardly, but I do want to make sure that you don't blend downward, okay? Because that's when you're gonna make a big mistake, and you're gonna bring down the overall look of your eyes. So make sure when you're blending, even if it is quick, just make sure you're not blending in a downward angle and you're keeping it all going up to give you a really pretty lifted and open-eyed effect. But small circular motions like this really get the job done super quick. That's it. I'm gonna go back and forth just on the base of my eyelid. Small circular motions. You can also do back and forth windshield wiper motions. Those are gonna get the job done. And look how easy and quick that is. I do wanna throw in a fun option that does not take that much time to apply. I'm gonna use a little bit of this Light Show Color Melt. It's basically like a liquid, shimmery eyeshadow. This is in the shade Slumber Party. It's from the brand Xoxo. So I'm gonna take a little bit. I'm gonna show you how quick this is, and you don't have to be a pro. I'm gonna put some on the top of my hand, blend it out on the top of my hand. I'm gonna get some on my fingertip, and I'm just going to pat it on the base of my eyelid. Now, you know, this might not be for everyone. So like I said, take these tips, cater it to your style, your aesthetic, priorities. I mean, but if you want to take the time, just pop this little bit of fun sparkle on your eyelids. You know, like I said, just because it's 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be super basic. Okay, moving on to the next product that I'm going to use on my eyes. I'm just going to use a dark brown pencil. It's actually a gel liner, but it's a pencil twist up liner. I'm going to take this and I'm going to tightline my top lash line. Now the reason why I'm doing this, and I'll try to talk throughout this, is because this will give your eyelashes a thicker, more full, defined lash line, but in a more soft and more natural way. Now I'm going to take a little more of this pencil and just run the smallest amount. And before that dries out, I'm going to take a small blending brush. This is a 204 from BK Beauty. Any small blending brush will work. And I'm just going to drag it out a little bit. And if you want to see something really fun, just pull that edge out with your finger. I am just going to hit that little outer corner of my eye. Same thing. And then, now I do know that most people find that mascara is a top priority. So let's get to that. This is the Xoxo 1018 mascara. I'm gonna get this as close to my root, like the root of my lashes as possible. I love this mascara. I don't know if I've mentioned that. This is a really solid mascara. I like to kind of wiggle it very lightly back and forth. That's gonna deposit a good amount of mascara at the root of your lashes and then pull it up. Now it's time to move on to one of my favorites, lip combos. I wear this to work probably, 3 times, 4 times out of the week. It's one of my go-tos because it is just easy and beautiful. So it's the one liner from Tower 28. It's in the shade Work of Art. I'm gonna apply this first. Now, if I'm lining my lips in a hurry and I want to just be in general more natural, I will skip this outer corners of my bottom lip. It just makes it look full, but not in a overdrawn or just an unnatural way. And another tip that I love to do if I'm doing more of a natural quick makeup look, I'll take my finger and I'll just buff it out very lightly, just diffusing that line ever so slightly. This is optional, very, very optional. But to me, that just makes that lip line more subtle. Now, the next product I'm gonna use is the Girlactik Jello Balm. This is in the shade Barely Nude. They have a bunch of shades in this formula. This one just works really well for my skin tone. I just love this color on me. It's like a perfect, just natural, go-to, easy lip color, but it is conditioning. It's a lip balm, so it doesn't feel like a lip gloss, doesn't feel like a heavy lipstick. It just feels like a conditioning lip balm, so it's great. I'm gonna pop this all over. And that completes this 10-minute makeup look.
Everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm a young stupid fool. Take off all your clothes.
So I had so much fun sitting down and doing what I think is a very realistic 10-minute makeup look, but very impactful. I hope you learned a ton throughout this video. If you did, make sure you leave me a comment. Tell me what was the most helpful throughout this tutorial. If you don't already, follow me on Instagram. I'm at Makeup by Nikki LaRose. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, I think you'll love this one right here. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Everything belongs to you.